All right, you guys, we are back with Ask the Doc, and we had a teeny tiny hiatus with of course, the Doc's busy schedule and the Arnold Classic, but we are back in the office here in Santa Monica, and we're going to go right ahead with your questions. Thanks for sending. So, Dr. Rand, number one, is it necessary or helpful to be on TRT while using SARMS at the same time? Should the two of them be combined for better results, or is one better than the other? Is it true that SARMS has little to no side effects? Thank you for your time, Dr. Rand.
That was an easy one. The idea of doing both together would be, well, non-productive.
Oh.
I can't imagine that being fruitful because you're going to be hitting the same receptor, and it's an easy choice to make. With SARMs, although there's a new one out, RAD 140, I think is what they call it.
I heard about that.
And I haven't seen studies. I've only honestly heard one patient, but I trust this one patient, who's telling me that he uses them and thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. I will add, though, that this is someone who's probably better off, meaning he's hypogonadal and has never been on replacement therapy, and he's using RAD 140 instead. Or I'm not sure what's going on in his mind, but I'm sure that's what it's fulfilling. The role is fulfilling. The blood work looks pretty good compared to all the other SARMs I've seen, I guess is my point. Again, I'm not endorsing RAD 140. I really don't know enough about it. But it is a SARM. SARMs in general are going to give you a lot of side effects.
Really?
Meaning they're going to lower your good cholesterol, the HDL cholesterol, and raise your bad cholesterol, the LDL, putting good and bad in parentheses, because there's much more to it than that. But anyway, to make it easy enough for this purpose anyway. And with a lot less of the benefit of, say, at least testosterone or even an anabolic steroid, more so with an anabolic steroid, you're going to get those sort of benefits. We did a study, my partner and I at the time, with Osterine, where we were sponsored, and we gave our athletes and others the Osterine, and we saw nothing but deleterious effects to, again, the lipid panel, and not much gain. And some of these people had been on testosterone replacement instead. So really nothing good to say about it. I understand why people want to use it, because again, registered libertarian right here, and human nature is, hey, I want to have control, and I want to be able to do what I want to do, and this is an opportunity for me to do so with a SARM. But I just don't see the results. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. I think you're so much better off just using testosterone, or in the case of an anabolic versus a SARM. I mean, for me, it's, if you're going to see those dramatic effects, and I should clarify, with testosterone, you shouldn't see deleterious effects on the lipid profile. If anything, you might see improvement in the LDL and the HDL levels. But I really, when I talk about the lipid effects, an anabolic steroid, any anabolic steroid is going to create that same lowering of the good and raising of the bad. So why use something, if that's going to happen anyway, that's less effective? You're doing it, and most of these people that are using them are using them for their anabolic capacity. Well, use something that's, first of all, tried and true, been around for a long time. Oxandrolone, nandrolone, these are things that are legal and which have a great track record and work really well. I realize there's always something, we all know what can happen with nandrolone with guys, with some erectile function, dysfunction issues, and of course oxandrolone comes with the price tag of being an oral steroid, but so is a SARM.
Right.
Anyway, the point
it's not cheap. Yeah, SARMs either.
I don't know. Are they? Are they comparable to anabolics?
Yeah, it's not that cheap.
Really?
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
Again, I think it comes down to the freedom thing, which I get from a psychological standpoint, but from a medical perspective, no. I think it's kind of a no-brainer to use what's been around in the tried and true instead of the SARMs. And certainly doing them together doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that.
That's what people say. That's out there. I know a lot of what's out there, and what's out there is that SARMs have no side effects. Is one of the misconceptions, I guess. Yeah, that's what they think. And then it's complementary to using anabolics or test or whatever. That's what they think. Okay.
Well, what I'd like to see, and I haven't checked, but it'd be nice to see if there were a study that used a SARM the way we might use, say, either lowering the estradiol to a certain tipping point, or adding eating enough protein or adding some nettle to the formulation. The point being to try and raise free testosterone by lowering sex hormone binding globulin. We can take a small amount of an anabolic steroid like a oxandrolone, maybe 5 milligrams, and I'm talking about a male in this case. Ladies don't mean to be prejudicial one way or the other. It would be a smaller dose for a female, but the idea would be to lower SHBG with something that, arguably, again, for a male, 5 milligrams of Anavar is not going to do anything anabolically. It's too small a dose, but you're going to get more juice for the squeeze again, more free T to total T by using something like that. Maybe with a SARM you could do that. I have no idea, but it would be great to see a study that uses that premise to see if that'll work.
Do you agree that by combining two a testosterone and an anabolic together, you have a better result than just taking a T by itself, bodybuilding wise? That's another one out there.
Combining two different testosterones?
No, two, like let's say testosterone and anabolic, like a Winstrol or Deca or Equipoise or something like that.
Well, in
that's
an
another one that's
era
out there.
like mine, remember I'm 56, and earlier, I never heard of using testosterone with an anabolic steroid. Nowadays, I know that not only is testosterone used as a base, and that's pretty much standard of care. If you look at some of the university studies, subjects will be using testosterone replacement and anabolics will be added to the regimen. To me, I've always argued, well, that's like saying, well, if you've got some 87 octane and the tank is full, meaning the receptors are all being activated by 87 octane testosterone, if you're trying to get more out of your vehicle, why would you add more? And so therefore you're going to use the 97 octane. Why would you want to add more unleaded, more 87 octane to that 97 octane fuel? You're just diluting it, right? And yet I've heard from some people I trust and I don't believe are being driven by placebo effect, they've told me, no, when I add testosterone to the anabolics alone, or more testosterone than I normally would use for my testosterone replacement therapy to the anabolics, they get a better result. I believe it probably had, because physiologically, again, what I said, by analogy, I know I'm not getting into the exact physiology of it, but it makes sense. Why would you want to dilute 97 octane, right? Why would you want to dilute the powerful, much more powerful, 3-to-1 ratio, anabolic to androgenic ratio, anabolic with something that's got a 1-to-1 ratio? I think it has something to do with people feeling better because of other ratios that are important to how you feel and certainly how your physiology runs, if you will. For example, the ratio of testosterone to estrogen. The ratio can determine how you feel. And if you add more testosterone, say, to your usual dose when you're using, say, Anavar, which doesn't convert, it's a DHT derivative, and you get more so your testosterone levels go up, testosterone or testosterone analogs, meaning an anabolic steroid. So you got your testosterone and Anavar in this case. And by the way, I'm using Anavar, that's how everyone knows it. It's not made as Anavar anymore, it's oxandrolone I'm referring to. But if you add more testosterone to that, then you're going to get more conversion to estrogen, and maybe that's a better ratio for some, the testosterone / Anavar ratio to estrogen than others, and you feel better. And of course we know you can oversuppress estrogen too, and if that's a result of using Anavar, then you'll get better gains and not only feel better, but get better gains all around if you're not oversuppressing your estrogen. You won't have achy joints and that sort of thing, so you'll be able to train harder, etc. So I think there's a different mechanism of action than what's assumed when you add more testosterone. But again, there's plenty of bodybuilders of old, the guys that set the bar a long time ago, that look great and felt great and are great. They just used they had their natural testosterone flowing, obviously, but no exogenous testosterone, just anabolic steroids.
Wow. Gotcha. Thanks, Doc.